And away we go. It's the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken. Right here on BearcatJournal.com, www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app. Have it bring it right to your front door, pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop, or go down to Dayton, Kentucky, Wednesday through Sunday, lunch and dinner. Tell them to pump it up and save yourself 15% off of your order. All right, Aaron. It's been a day. I guess we'll get to talking momentarily.
There's plenty to get to there. My goodness. 6 people,
Yeah,
8 people,
yeah.
8 people.
Hey, if you want content, Bearcat Journal is where you go. That's what we do here. The news of the day, some scheduling. Is it too much? Should I take it off?
No, I'm laughing about the scheduling.
Oh, I thought you were just laughing about the ridiculousness
No,
of
everyone up in their feels and not realizing that things were going to have to. I mean, everybody said as soon as we joined the Big 12, you can't keep Ohio and Miami in the same year on your schedule.
You can't go to Ohio and Western Kentucky and play a 9-game Big 12 schedule. It came out today that Cincinnati was reworking the Nebraska schedule that was supposed to have happened and started in 2020. The Big Ten wasn't playing football at that point in time.
Thanks,
so
COVID.
The game got bagged. This is a restructuring of that deal. It came out that the 2025 game will be played as a Cincinnati home game in Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. And then the 2032 game would be in Lincoln. Of course, everybody, including some of my family here, lost their damn minds before we had any of the actual information. I don't know for Dave if that changes anything. He was still very angry. But as we got more information, there is a lot of other moving pieces here. The Western Kentucky series, 25 and 26 at Western Kentucky, then at Nippert Stadium, is being bought out. Cincinnati will pay $500,000 to take that game. That's those 2 games off the books. And then the Ohio U game also being bought out. That return game, was that 26? I think that was. Whatever.
Something like that.
That game is the contract is being bought out by Cincinnati. So there you have $1 million on the books, and then you have to schedule by game replacements. That adds a couple more $1 million to the fold. Sources told Keegan and I today that they expected the take from that game at Lucas Oil would be around $3 million. You add that with 7 home games. That was the big concern I think everybody had initially is we had 7 home games. Why are we giving up a home game? Now we'll only have 6. That's not fair to the ticket holders. But with buying out the Western Kentucky game and buying an opponent, that would get you back to 7 home games, plus an 8th home game that you're playing on a neutral site in Indianapolis against Nebraska. So look, as is the case with most things in life, Aaron, it comes down to money.
Shocker.
And yeah, I think there are some people. Okay, I can't do this. I'm trying to have serious talk here. Get it together, Brendel. I think there is a segment of this fan base that believes because Cincinnati has entered the Big 12, they are now generationally wealthy. And that they just have all of the money to spend on any of the things without repercussion. If you're adding 4 or 5 million, whatever it ends up being, dollars to that line item that is football scheduling, there are a lot of other very needy pieces to the puzzle that are now not going to be funded properly.
Well, you also have to consider that this university just renovated the men's and women's basketball locker rooms. You're building an indoor practice facility. You just gave the baseball stadium renovations. And those are just the things that I know about. That's not including any of the Olympic sports. That's not including all of the uniforms that you had to buy when you made the switch over from Under Armour to Nike and Jordan.
Yeah, it's a lot.
There's been a lot of money spent.
But people just hear, well, we're in the Big 12 now, so we're going to be getting a lot more money. And I would hate to see, like, when they get a raise or if they get a Christmas bonus. Like, it just spend it. Oh, here's $5,000 Christmas bonus. Oh, I just bought a $4,800 camera lens.
That's the whole premise of the Christmas Vacation movie, right? Like, right. He already spent the money and he got his jelly club.
Right. So, I mean, you have to. I know people are upset right now. I know fans are irrationally angry. And maybe for some of them, they feel they're rationally angry about where things are at. And this was another thing that everybody could be angry about and unleash their anger. But when you get down to it, it was money related. And the athletic department is going to do what they feel is best to keep the bottom line where they need the bottom line. Moving this Nebraska game is something they felt like would allow them to be closer to accomplishing that directive. So
I imagine they're also, by the way, putting money aside so when they do have to update other things in the future, they're not begging you for all the money again.
No, they're all. That's how renovations and upgrades work. They go to the donors and say,
but you don't think
we're going to need you to pay for this.
You don't think they're going to have any money put aside?
No, that's not how college athletics works. Go back to COVID, Aaron, and the minute COVID hit, and everybody was like, "Oh shit, we didn't put any money aside for in case something might have happened."
Anyway,
well, this is a whole other show about how college athletics does their books, but moving on. Talking about talking, there's a lot to get to. Let's speed date this because we have Scott Satterfield, Luke Kandra, and Miles Montgomery on the football side, and Wes Miller, a shocking, like a surprisingly awesome CMOS Lukosius introduction, and Dan Skillings. And
Jonathan Thompson and Dorian Jones.
Yeah. We got a lot, so let's go.
Real quick on Satterfield, I felt he was still frustrated. It's not often that he comes to the presser, the midweek presser, still frustrated, despite all the losses piling up at this point, 5 of them. He feels that they should have won at least 3 games, went into detail why we should have won at least 3 games. Still feels that they're maybe a play or 2 away from winning at least 3 games. But at the end of the day, he did make sure that he is taking full ownership of this record. He's saying he does believe that there were execution issues. He believes that there were more that the coaching staff as a whole could have done. But at the end of the day, he realizes this all falls on his shoulders.
Yeah. I thought that was the basis of it. A lot of respect for Oklahoma State. They are playing really good right now. Talked a lot about their running back and about the environment and the defense they're going to face, their speed. So
he also mentioned he was excited by what he saw in the run game from Cincinnati this week, and he's hoping to see more of that open up the offense. Then as far as Oklahoma State goes, I have that he realizes it was their 3rd game where they kind of figured out their offensive identity and changed their philosophy as far as offense went. It was mentioned that Emory Jones saw their 3-3-5 last season. And then the big note, I guess, is Ryan Montgomery is supposed to be back this week. And we'll see if another name that was mentioned as far as the potential change in any of the return game, if there is one, would be potentially Monty, potentially DJ Turner.
Yes.
DJ Taylor. Now you got me doing it.
I know. I'm sorry.
Are you?
Sorry.
As far as Miles goes, there wasn't a whole lot there. He didn't talk very long. But the premise of everything that he kept getting back to me was just that he wants to make sure that people realize that last week was not a fluke, that he, I think, believes he should be getting the ball as much, if not more, as he did last week. And he's just excited to get back on the field to show people what he can do.
Yeah. And he apologized for his tweet.
He said that Satterfield was right. He admitted Satterfield was right and said that maybe it wasn't a challenge, but he was right that they weren't explosive at that point in time, and they have shown. I mean, with 3 plays at 38 yards or better between he and Corey Kiner, they showed that they can be explosive.
Yeah, I think it was important for him to stand up there in front of the room and just be like, "Hey, I did something dumb. That's not me." And I wanted to go out and show him, what I could do. I thought it was really good stuff.
Luke Kandra. I felt like everything kept getting back to the energy that he felt. He said it started in the locker room before they even went out there. Said it felt different than it had before any other game. Mentioned the guys with the towels. There was a name for them. I should have written it down. But the guys who were on the sidelines with the towels jumping around, and just said that he felt that it was the closest this team has been all year. And I think that was something good that could be taken away. You don't love moral victories. I don't anyway. And I think that if you're going to take something away from that game, this is one of those things you can take away. Jonathan Thompson and Dorian Jones kind of go hand in hand, as Dorian really showed him the ropes, as he told him he was not going to be able to take all the snaps this season. Jonathan Thompson comes in. They had studied the playbook together. It sounds like they spent an awful lot of time together, and Jonathan Thompson was able to come in, able to make plays. He said he is working on being a more vocal, wants to be a leader eventually on this team, and he's working on being more vocal, as he is genuinely a quiet guy.
I don't know if he could be more. I honestly don't know if he could be more vocal. Like, he is so soft spoken and kind of. He doesn't play that way, but when you talk to him, he just has that calm demeanor. He
is that. I got to know him when he was going through his commitment and all of that, and he's always been just kind of quiet, soft spoken, but
intelligent.
I felt like he always had something very good to say. Right.
He plays his ass off. It's not for lack of he's not one of those guys that's quiet, and you can see that in how they play. As soon as he goes on the field, it's a different personality, but off the field,
he's not quiet because he doesn't have anything to say, not quiet because he can't figure out what to say. It's just he's
just quiet. He's pleasant to talk to. It was a pleasant interview. I am glad that he started making plays, so now we can get him on a little, get him in front of the camera a little bit more. I think he's a guy, if he continues to progress, is going to be really good with the media.
I think that everything that he says will be well thought out well before he gets to a microphone.
Sure.
Wes Miller, switching gears here. I thought there was a lot of things said in basketball. Dan Skillings is going to be a media darling. Media darling. But Wes Miller spoke. Yeah, he did. When you talked about what you're not allowed to talk about, and he just talked all the way around you. Yeah. Well done. Wes though spoke about the sense of urgency with the season 2 weeks away, made sure that he got you there too, as you tried to bait him in the.
No, that was a joke more than anything. Coaches are lunatics 2 weeks before the season.
And he sidestepped
crazy people.
He sidestepped all of those accusations of being a lunatic and said it's a sense of urgency.
No, I said panic. Panic was. Are you panicked because the season is 2 weeks away?
He also spoke.
Panic.
He also spoke a lot about everything going on with Jamil and Aziz and how the process is not over. They feel they've met all the requirements. And then it wasn't a call to arms or anything like that, but it was just kind of a state of where this team is at with Aziz and Jamil, as he is genuinely concerned about their mental health. They went to Cincinnati under the premise that they met all the requirements that it would take, and they just simply don't understand why they can't play at this point. They're not being able to participate. They're able to participate in everything but the competition against other teams. So it will continue as the season begins, if they have not heard anything as far as the waivers go. But it's difficult for these guys who felt that they had checked all the boxes. The NCAA had set parameters. They met the parameters according to all the people they talked to, the people who are paid to give advice on these types of things. Sounded like not even just at Cincinnati, but here they are, and not really sure what it's going to take for them to be able to play basketball this year.
Yes.
Wes went on to mention that they don't use scrimmages as games, but as advanced practice. So kind of what I had been under the assumption of. They're using this in a situation where you can simulate a game probably better than you would against your own teammates who are used to seeing you day in, day out. But they're using it to figure out rotations, to figure out where they're at, kind of use it as a measuring stick, and did say that the team this year is going to be playing significantly faster. They are emphasizing ball movement, using the open court more, but did say that they are still figuring out how to use everyone because they didn't have some of the continuity this season that they had last season with some of the guys at the top of the rotations. And that the game this year is going to be different with the charge call changes, because charging is apparently going to be called very differently.
Right. It's going to be called blocking.
I feel like the NBA started this trend because the NBA refs love to do the rah.
Oh, don't get me started with that bullshit as much as they love doing.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all a show. All of it's a show.
I'll tell you this, Aaron. I will tell you this. I have never walked in a bathroom at an AAU tournament and seen a ref doing this. But I've walked in a bunch of times and seen them working on their charge call.
Stop it. That's not real.
I swear to God. Or they're technical.
Well, that's because we all, if they're anywhere near our age, we all got used to doing this as we watched Degeneration X. You don't have to practice that. We all know how to do that.
Give me a break.
Anyway.
Give me a break.
Moving on, Dan Skillings didn't have a whole lot of notes here. Just said that he understands better this year than he did last year, as it's another year of basketball for him, as he's only really been playing, as he went into a little bit more detail than maybe we've heard in the media. Only really since his junior year did he start focusing on team basketball as opposed to just a recreational thing, messing around with his friends. He thinks that he's improved the most in defense, and from what I've heard in the jump that he's made in offense, if he's improved that much more in defense, that should be exciting. Did mention how much he loves hard coaching and the relationship that he has with this coaching staff, because they don't really bullshit him. He didn't use those words, I did, but just in the way that they do coach him hard and how he responds to it. And then Day-Day is super fast. He made mention of just how this offense has changed with a guy like Day-Day at the helm.
Really fast with the ball in his hands. Really fast with the ball in his hands.
Simas Lukosius, make sure that you pronounce it Lukosius. He went into detail about the little symbol over his S to make it a sh sound. But he is used to adjustments. He's made the adjustment in coming to America. He's made the adjustment in getting to Butler, now making the adjustment coming here. He's used to making off-season adjustments. Says that he is already close with Vic, despite the Russia-Lithuania kind conflicts that
was funny.
That was pretty funny. I laughed.
They were like, oh, somebody asked him, like, did Vic being here like influence your decision? And he was like, well, I'm from Lithuania and he's from Russia, and we don't really like each other. Like those are two places that don't really get along.
But he did say it also did influence him that there is somebody who is European here and Eastern European and able to help him out in this transition.
But he's got jokes. You know how exciting that is for me?
Well, can you imagine being in a room then with him and Vic at the same time?
I know, right?
I can only imagine how often those jokes switch gears into a language that nobody else understands. They're just laughing.
Nobody understands.
They're just laughing at everybody.
But both of them are genuinely funny. So the closer the season gets, I'm getting excited because this has a chance to be a really fun team to be around. I don't know if they're going to win. Well, but I know it's got a chance to be a really fun team to be around.
That was also something that both Skillings and CMOS talked about, is how much this team has already gelled in the offseason and how there wasn't. Dan made it sound like last season it did not gel nearly as quickly, nearly as well as what has happened already. So it sounds like there may have been some different factions just of guys who had been here previously.
Think of it like this. You had the faction that was here when this staff got here, and then you had the faction that they brought in like first wave, and then the second year people that they brought, like there were
three different groups of people. So
while I think they got along well last year, I do think it's just human nature that like JD and Micah were going to be closer because they had different experiences than the guys that came in after, so that makes sense, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. CMOS also said that he's always been less athletic, so he's always focused more on actual basketball and feels like that's where he has thrived coming here. His confidence.
He was getting fucking buckets today in practice.
His confidence is
pull-ups, layups. He was getting buckets.
His confidence is based on his development. That's out of his mouth. And then his relationship with the coaches is kind of special to him, being that the coaches, when they recruited him, focused not just on recruiting him, but also recruiting those around him, which is why he chose Cincinnati. He feels that their goals are aligned more so than any other staff that he spoke with, and he feels he can help them get to their goals while they help him get to his.
And one of the things he talked about, and I've kind of been sitting on this one, and I probably shouldn't have gave it away today in an open media setting with everybody there. But one of the things that he made clear was important to him was the relationship with his dad. And Drew Adams, who was his lead recruiter in this process, went to Lithuania to hang out and get to know his dad. That's
what I was talking about when I said that he recruited the people around him, not just him.
I know. I was just, giving a little bit more detail like that. I've been sitting on that one for a while. So I wanted to be able to talk to him about it in person. But yeah, and that, I'm telling you from what I know, that made a massive, like Thad Matta, nobody from Butler ever went over. And that was recruiting process before Thad, like nobody from Butler went over to see his family in Lithuania, but by my understanding. And so having a coach do that was genuinely a big deal. Like, okay, these guys they care about the right things. And that's something we have talked about with Wes and his staff since they got here. They care about the right things, and that plays in recruiting.
There you have it. 8 people, 24 minutes, plus scheduling talk. You're welcome.
Great job, Aaron. That's the nightcap. We'll see you next time. Galactic Fried Chicken is the sponsor. Bearcat Journal is home. See you tomorrow night.
See ya.